The Diary Room, WMSC, your favorite Big Brother commentary show, perchance.
Awesome.
It probably is. I hope it is. I am your host, Emol, with my lovely co-host,
Hi, my name is Chris, just Chris, always Chris, still Chris. And we are in the diary room
The Diary Room.
again
Again, we're
on
here
a Thursday this time. Again.
Thursday again, and we are still adjusting to our new time slot. If you're confused, you're like, I am not used to hearing these people at this time. That's because we were once upon a time on Sunday, which was cool and fun and fresh. And now we're on Thursday, and the womp womp about this is we're gonna start covering last Thursday's episode up until like now. And so we're still adjusting to this schedule. So bear with us as we try to recall what happened a whole week ago. And but have no fear, we very much recall what happened last night because we watched Wednesday's episode in the office, adjacent to the diary room.
Yeah.
And thus we know so much about yesterday, but this is not about yesterday. This is about yesterweek. And let's start with last Thursday. So we were speculating who perchance could be going home a week ago today. The HOH was none other than Quinn. On the block was, correct me if I'm wrong, again, so long ago. It was Chemo and Joseph and Rabina,
Yes.
correct? And then, so just a week ago was our announced during the episode our final AI arena. Whoa! And the final winner of the AI arena for the season is none other than Rubina.
That was fair competition to
That
win.
was the comp was the one where they had to like weave in and out of
The jungle
the
gym
jungle
looking
gym
thing.
thing
Yeah.
to get untangled, and Rabina, it was made for her. She slayed. She was out of breath. I was actually really concerned for her after the competition. It didn't sound like she was doing
For
too
her
well,
life.
but
She fought to the end.
she did great. I think she also won by a landslide.
Yeah, no, it was a lot.
It was a lot. I think someone else attempted to run to press the buzzer or to put the thing in the thing, the
Yeah,
technical
you gotta
term.
put the
Um,
lock or
but
whatever.
'twas Rabina. I go, yeah. And I don't remember what else happened that episode. That was really significant. So I'm just gonna go into the into the end of the episode if that's cool.
No, but like it really wasn't. Like we're this is last week.
Yeah,
We got bigger fish to
we do.
fry.
Y'all, if you're listening to us, you already watched the show. You already know that again, that was the last AI arena that left Chemo and Joseph up on the block and for the rest of the house to decide. And one significant thing before the actual votes was that, of course, as usual, the two house guests have the opportunity to talk to the house and plead their case. Why should you be kept in the house? And Chemo made a speech all about how, of course, he wants to stay in the game, but he's really there on a mission to be a representation, to be much bigger than just himself. And hey, guys, I would really appreciate if you kept me in the house. And Joseph just kind of did the standard, like I'd appreciate it if you kept me in the house.
Yeah.
And so the first person to vote was Mackenzie. And Mackenzie, side note, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. She just looks stunning. It was so cinematic, her sitting there all poised, like in the diary room. You look great. You look great, Julie. As like she's holding back tears because she was crying when Julie was talking before and when the speeches were going on. And so I wasn't quite sure which way she'd vote at this moment, but like it was I think to the house's understanding before, like Joseph was not the target. But
Mhm.
I don't even think Chemo was really a target either. It's just like, yeah, we'll just have him go.
This
It's like
was like an
so many
awkward week.
targets.
Yeah, there was no like. I mean, I guess people just weren't comfortable enough taking out like an actual target, like someone like Angela.
Mm-hmm.
So they just decided to put up two non-targets and see which one the house wanted to take out more. And so we got to the point that we were.
Alas, that's kind of the
Yeah.
the vibe of the house. And so I thought, goodbye chemo, and then Mackenzie's in there tearing up. She like takes a deep breath. She thinks about it, and I'm like, what's going on? She's pondering, and then so she casts the first vote, and she votes out Joseph. I just like okay. And tragically, the only other vote that I do remember that Chelsea also voted out Joseph. Question mark? And I don't think that was the original plan either, because, and again, mm,
See,
I
if
wish
this
I
was
wrote down
me,
all of them.
if it was up to me,
hmm
I would have voted out Joseph.
Yeah.
I mean, no, not Joseph. I would
Nope.
have voted out Chemo because Chemo was a much stronger player.
hmm
And like as much as I love Chemo, we're kind of in another situation where you have a big target on the block. Chemo is a much bigger target than Joseph is, and
hmm
he will be a much bigger target than he will ever be because I have already the ship has sailed with Joseph, and I'm done defending him. The fact that he threw the veto a week ago, the black box competition, that
hmm
was the nail in the coffin
Yeah.
last Wednesday. I genuinely have no more respect for Joseph because he
Wow.
thinks he's like as much as I sure he can be a floater and he can be silly and he can be silly and funny, but he you can't actively try to throw a competition when you're about to be in jury, dude.
hmm
And he was talking like he was the best player to ever play the game when he hasn't won a single competition. And he was
Yeah.
being rude to other house guests. Like, yeah, he's funny, but like why are you like this? I thought that you were like better than this, bro.
Well, apparently not.
But I'm still taking the opportunity to take out to take out Chemo
hmm
just because of the fact that he's probably still gonna do nothing. Joseph is probably still gonna do nothing.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is then if it depends on the person's allegiance to Leah at this point, because before this eviction, Leah still has quite literally wrapped around her finger Joseph and Quinn.
Hmm.
And so I know in like all the things that I'm listening to, we're referring a lot to trios. That's a trio there.
Yes, but not
However,
really because Joseph and Quinn aren't really like super duper 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 duper.
lovers to
You know,
enemies, enemies to lovers.
well, they weren't like enemies, but they also were just kind of like
I
they kind of existed in like the same exact
don't-
space,
Well,
and that was really it.
because, and then a comment just after, I mean, the obvious a week ago, you should know this by now. Joseph evicted. Goodbye. Goodbye, Joseph.
Yeah.
And my the most unfortunate thing isn't that Joseph left. It was Quinn's reaction to it. And I laugh and I giggle and I absolutely love Quinn so much and I still giggle because it's like, dude, he's sobbing, his glasses are foggy, he's hugging Rabina at this moment, and the people must have had such a fun time with this episode because they do a slow zoom in on his face too. And I just kept thinking, oh, I if I could find it quick enough, I put a song in the system specifically for Quinn in this moment. But they must have had a field day with this shot, and I know that Twitter did for sure. No, where is it? Oh, I'm gonna play this song as we discuss the moment when Joseph was evicted. Quinn is so sad. Because at this point, I don't genuinely think that Joseph and Quinn were aligned with one another. However, I do think Quinn at this point did think that Joseph could possibly be a number for him. Putting Joseph up on the block solidified that Joseph would never help Quinn. I mean, he's in the diary room like, I'm gonna put you up next week. Well, he can't do that, can he? But This is Quinn. And I was watching with my whole family, and they're like, "Oh, what's that song? Like, this is the song." Poor Quinn. But the truth is, I feel like Joseph's thing was not terrible for Quinn because again, Joseph would have been going against him. However, would Joseph have won anything? But he's only been after jury, where Joseph was like, "Oh my God, he's now I'm gonna start writing things." But he is so bold, like he said, he's an candidate, he's an amazing player, and he's doing comps, sitting there in the dark.
It's like I like Joseph as a silly funny guy, but like as a team player, I whatever. Like then if he's not, and not Brett, my active gunning to do stuff and has made many big social moves when Joseph is really not doing any of that. Like even if Chemo hasn't won any competition,
But he did.
well, yes, he did. Even but like if he didn't,
Yeah.
if he has zero competitions under his belt, he still has a better social game because he's making moves. He's actively trying to get out the big targets, and nobody really recognized that, which was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess they sort of did because it was split. Well, it wasn't really split. It was just like nobody knew what to do going in because everybody was confused. And I really don't know why that was the case. I think this was the freest Chemo exit we could have taken. You split up Chemo and T-Core. T-Core is alone now. You have another person out of the game. And yeah, I guess Chemo's probably a better jury vote because Joseph's just going to vote for the person he likes the most.
And if it's Leah, game over.
Exactly.
Guaranteed vote to Leah.
There's no way that Quinn and Leah go to final two. There's actually just no way. I can't see that happening in a million years. I can see like T-Core, if she wins again, she'll probably like gun for her or something. Who knows what will happen?
Well,
let's move into next week. I'm tired of talking about this week.
Well, no, I have to bring up that what this does to our draft.
Oh yeah.
Where's your item?
My item is on the floor because it fell on the floor.
So, based on items being thrown to the floor mistakenly, I was doing that last week. But a little update of our draft. Alas, you can't even see it on the screen if you're watching us later.
Oh, you can a little bit.
A little bit,
just
but
a little bit.
With an eviction
don't slide back.
Of Joseph, this lands Chris as this week's have not.
No, I have to wear tape on my head.
Tape of shame.
Shame.
I wear the crown of victory, and our AI, our version of Ainsley Oswald, remains all right. Okay, despite having the least amount of house guests remaining, but we will recap that at the end because now we know Joseph's gone. Goodbye, Joseph. Out into the real world. Maybe we'll run into you. I don't know. I feel like we've got a better shot at running into Tucker. He's like next door in New York. If I run it, hi Tucker, if you're listening.
He's in New York. I thought he was.
I could be wrong. He was chilling in New York at least.
He was chilling in New York.
Tucker, if you're still chilling in New York, we're like 12 miles away.
Please come
to the
diary room
if
Tucker,
you feel like it.
If you want, Tucker.
I guess Joseph, you could sit in the hall.
I think I would invite him in.
Okay.
I'll have a stern talking to him. I would like to have a stern talking to Joseph.
And after that, now we move into Sunday.
Let's go to Sunday.
Let's go to Sunday. This is the HOH competition. on Sunday, and this was the before and after challenge where the nights before the house guests had to look at various video clips. They gathered around the living room and they watched as various people pressed the doorbell and they knocked at the door and they bothered the house guests, including what was it, HOA person saying you're violating our blah, blah, blah. And super fans who were like we just want to sniff your hair. I don't remember what they said. And then none other than Lisa was featured talking about glitter. She had a bucket of glitter this time, prepared to go
Mm.
back in the house. More glitter,
I'm
more
glad they
food,
didn't
more
let her back
Lisa.
in.
They did not let her back in.
I'm so glad.
You know how we're so back? She's so not back.
Good.
But she tried. She
Keep
tried
it
her
that
best.
way.
And so house guests were kept up. I believe I heard they watched at least like 50 clips. And then this was all in preparation of the HOH competition where they had to determine whether a clip happened before or after a different clip by stepping up or down. I don't remember which one was before and which one was after, but they had to step up and down. This is the sleepy diary room that doesn't have, it doesn't remember what
Yeah. Sundays.
when guys, we're back to school. It's a little bit difficult to do class in this tiny diary room. It's really difficult sometimes. But what we do know is that there was a tiebreaker.
Very, very,
Um,
very large tiebreaker.
Large tiebreaker. I believe there were 4 or 5 players in this last tiebreaker, and the question was how many seconds long was the previous HOH competition with the eggs? And the majority of the guesses were way overshot. So the winner was the one who was underneath the actual answer, and that was none other than Chelsea. And thus we have a Chelsea HOH win. What is she gonna do? And why did she win this? Like I think it's okay that she did. But I also
That's
feel
number
like
two,
number
baby.
two, which is good for
Woo.
the resume and
Very good.
whatnot.
Especially right now. Right now, these are like the HOHs that matter the most. I mean, actually, I feel like every HOH who got out a big threat also was like pretty successful, I guess.
Hmm.
There was really no wasted HOHs, I would think. Except for like, I don't know, I guess Lisa's week or Kenny's week. Like those are like the easy ones.
Hmm.
But like we got the big threats out of there pretty early. Like Brooklyn's gone, Tucker's gone, Cedric's gone. I guess Matt never really had time to shine,
I feel like he could have been.
but he could have been a good player.
Yeah,
But like
hypothetically.
you got like half of the biggest threats out in the house already, which is pretty crazy. And Chelsea is just making herself a bigger threat by
Hmm.
winning this HOH and having to make all these decisions.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like she was in a pretty decent spot where she didn't
Have to
have
win.
to win. Um,
But she said that she threw it, but also she said
mhm.
that she didn't throw it.
Yeah. So I've been hearing some conflicting things because apparently on the feed she was talking about how she threw the competition. But then it was kind of a question of, well, then you didn't throw it well.
Yeah.
But then on Sunday's episode, it sounded like in the diary room, she's like, yeah, I wanted to win this. So I don't know what it really is.
And that,
Maybe she's just like covering herself
yeah,
outside of there, like, oh, guys, feel bad for me. I have to make
it
nominations.
might have just been game talk.
I think
The whole
so,
throw thing, like when she was saying she threw it, she was probably going for it.
which
And
isn't
like, yeah,
terrible.
throwing it at this point is not a terrible move.
Hmm.
Like not in the way that it's she's not throwing it because she wants to throw it like Joseph. She's throwing it because she doesn't want to get any blood on her hands.
She'd throw it strategically. He
Exactly.
was just like,
I love you.
I have a mustache. It's gross. Sorry, I don't like mustaches. Quinn, you're next.
Quinn has a mustache.
Please, Quinn. No, please.
Bleak,
Please,
bleak
no.
Quinn, bleak Quinn.
But we have Chelsea
Cheech.
HOH, and thus she has to put people on the block. But this week, because Julie announced before that the AI arena is no more, we are reverting back to two nominees instead of
Man,
three.
I'm so upset.
I
I'm so
know,
upset.
I know. And it's crazy that there have been twists in the past, especially this time last year, that were just bad. Like nobody liked Zombie Week last season.
I don't remember
You
that.
were not. It was essentially
I wasn't watching last season.
there were. I know it's at some point Chris exited the diary room,
Yeah, I
but
exited the diary room like all last season.
it was like a part where there were two evicted house guests. It was Cam and Jared, I believe. And I think it was the night that Jared at least was evicted. They turned right back around and went in the house dressed as zombies for a whole week. They lived in there and it put a pause to the game. I don't think there was an HOH. There was no nominees. It was
What?
not normal gameplay, and they were like in the house. And then at the end of the week, they played a competition to see if they could get back in.
What?
Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong, but it was something like that, and nobody liked it. But it's also because, well, I'm not going to
I
say
don't
that
like
nobody liked
battlebacks.
Cam.
I don't like battlebacks.
It was just unfortunate because they just like existed there
And they didn't play any
and they
game.
didn't play, and nobody played any game. There was no development. It just went downhill. I personally was really okay. I'm gonna say specifically gameplay wise, take personal out of it because I don't want to like bash them. I did not like either of them like hardcore. And still okay, no, personally too. I don't know how Cameron won America's favorite player. This is a lot about you, America. That's all I'm gonna say. I didn't like Cam and I really didn't like Jared. And so the fact that either of them could come back in the house, I was like, mm. Also, I don't remember if this is before or after Jag came back, but Jag came back too. There were too many battle
Why
backs.
is there so many? What?
I don't know. Sometimes I like battle backs, but it depends on the people.
That's true. I'm never really like if they had a battle back this season, I think I would like really be upset.
Hmm.
Like even if it were to give Tucker the chance to come back in the game, which there's not going to be a battle back. I'm going to say that with confidence. There's no battle back this season.
I don't think there's enough time for it. I mean, the
That
finale is in a month.
that and also the fact that they've been very active.
Hmm.
Usually like they'll tell them in secret
Hmm.
and they aren't really like going super crazy on like social media and stuff like that. Like
Oh yeah, like the people that are evicted. Yeah, no, they know too much. They've been watching
they've
it.
been
They would
watching
hold
it.
them in like a room.
Yes.
I mean, the only thing they could do at this point is in jury.
Yeah.
If there's a battle back of jurors. Um, I mean, even if I see a favorite of mine go
I don't think I
soon.
would like to see anybody in this current house return to the house. And that would
Yeah.
require them to do a lot. And if that means that, I don't know, I mean, I guess if like by a absolute complete miracle they managed to get T-Core out of the house, that would be okay. Like I would be cool with her coming back in, but she's like the only person that I would like to
Mhm.
see the game through with. Like that's it.
Yeah. I feel like let's just skip it. Let's just skip it this season, especially with the AI arena being so good. But now they got rid of it. Big womp. Um, but I also think we're kind of getting to a point where it would be really hard to put three people up, but so be it. Do it. Just put the
And
three
that's
people
what the
up.
AI arena was made this season so good
Yeah.
because like they literally said it themselves. The problem with eviction night is that the only thing that happens is the eviction.
Hmm.
And now you add a competition that allows the people watching and the people in the house to have to speculate multiple outcomes
Hmm.
of an event. And it makes it engaging
Yeah.
because I don't know if XYZ, if Y house guests comes down and they're the one who's the target. Now the house has to choose between X and Z, and
Hmm.
nobody knows what to do
Yeah.
because they were all out and getting Y out, and now it's like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And that's what made it cool.
I like specifically like going back to the whole like Mackenzie thing. She was probably thinking she's going to go in there to vote out chemo. But then she also probably had to think, well, what if chemo won the AI arena? It's between Joseph and
Joseph and
Ravina. What would
Rabina.
I do? And she thought of all these scenarios, and in the end, she threw all of it out because of a speech that was made, which is incredible. By the way, good for chemo. Like I didn't even like specify that earlier. Way to go,
No, you
chemo.
did.
And
You did.
just like praise for him because it's like, and that's something that's dangerous too. To just to note too, his power of words is really important too.
Emo is really good at talking.
Mhm. And in the end, it was the AI arena that saved Rabina, and it was his speech that saved chemo. But neither of those things we knew going into it. There's also, I know you like to stay by the show, and then there's me who likes to check Twitter and get spoiled as soon as possible. I think I said last week too, when Quinn was HOH, I found out I opened up feeds and he just won. And he was immediately doing one-on-ones, which was kind of crazy. But obviously, they have to do a lot of this earlier than when the show is because they need time to film it and edit it and blah, blah, blah. And so I spoil a lot for myself. There are other people who are glued to the live feeds as well, so they know
Yeah.
even earlier than it's reported to me. But point is no matter how ahead you are, you do not know who won the AI arena. And you have a feeling, yes, if it's this or this or this pairing,
Yeah.
what people may do, but there's no guarantee, especially last week. Last week, I think, was one of the most exciting evictions for kind of a neutral outcome. But just the way that it happened, I thought was fantastic. And now we're not going to have that anymore.
Mm,
I know some people online were like, what if we just kept this? What if we didn't call it the AI arena? We called it something else. And it was just like a part of the show.
I feel like that would be the best case scenario, but also it's probably really, 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 really expensive.
Yeah.
Like you need, this is one, it's live,
Hmm.
so you need even more hands than you normally would if it wasn't.
I'll give you hands, big brother.
You need more hands. You need more things to just go right. You need schedules to line up. You
Mhm.
need like the fact that they did it for this long is baffling. If you think about the
Yeah.
logistics, like how difficult is it to do a live eviction and a live competition
Hmm.
every single Thursday?
Yeah, I mean that's something to consider too. I feel like they really put their all into it this season. I almost said semester. This semester they put all into it, especially because I know, like,
And props to production.
yeah. Well, I feel like they saw last season it wasn't
I don't think it was
generally. I think
very
the
good.
feedback was kind of poor. Um, no hate towards Jag, but I feel like we were kind of at the end where I didn't really care who won. Not because I loved the two at the end so much. It's because I was super neutral at the two. I was super neutral in the three and the four, I'm pretty sure as well.
I think the at this point in the game, like I see what you mean, and
Hmm.
like I don't think that's gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
After like the AI arena helped with that,
Hmm.
and at this point, like the only final two that I would be like not excited for is like Leah and Ruby, or maybe like Cam and Leah. I think
Well, I mean, there's still some time
that's true, and like there's a lot
for
of there's like
development.
another half of the house left,
Yeah.
so we still have more time to see people come up.
And but I feel like it definitely did show more with this arena, especially again, like we said, chemo. I guess for the most part, he hasn't done too much in comps, but he'll always have that first AI arena under his belt,
Yeah,
and otherwise there wouldn't
he
have been
has
that chance.
one of the best social games in the house too,
This is very
without
true.
a doubt.
But this also aided in Tucker becoming such a big threat so quick, so easily, because he was just like dominating all these comps.
Won like
Like,
four three
yeah.
AI, what two or three AI
I don't
arenas
remember,
and
but
five vetoes. I
it
think he
must be
won.
you in the AI arena.
I think he won the first like four vetoes or something like that. He like won it. He had like a streak
He won a whole lot.
or something like that. Either way, Tucker won a lot of competitions, and the AI arena was the catalyst for that.
So
So
RIP BBAI arena. You will be missed. You
very
are
much.
loved. And Big Brother production, because I know you're listening. You're not doing anything else right now on a Thursday. Definitely not preparing for
Definitely not preparing for
live,
live
live show.
alive per double per chance,
Chance. We'll talk about it.
possibly.
We'll talk.
Let's move it. Let's move to
But
Wednesday. Let's
shout,
move.
to AI Arena. Shout out BB Production. These have been great comps for the AI Arena,
Yes.
except for that one where you had to
Except
spell it out for all the house guests because they couldn't quite put it together.
that was your one miss, but it's
It was a
okay.
house guest
You
miss.
had like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, six for seven, 6 for 7. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Great. 10-1. No, that was great. Thank you, Big Brother. But to complete the Sunday episode, Chelsea as HOH has to name two nominees, and she goes for Chemo and Angela. What? So shocked. I am not surprised in the least. They are recurring uh, individuals,
Nominees.
nominees. I couldn't think of the word nominees. I'm like, they're recurring on the block or
On the blockers.
and so I wasn't surprised. I don't think the nominees are surprised either. I hated that. Did you? I belong I deserve to be an on the
On the
block
blockers.
after I make gross sound. Uh,
Ah.
and so those are the two on the block. Again, not surprised. I don't think they are either. But as we move into Wednesday, we're gonna see what kind of magic Angela has because she's had a lot recently. She's got Angela Riz, and
Angela
she
Riz.
uses it on the veto that she doesn't win. And who knows? Maybe that'll happen again. And thus, power of veto competition.
Uh, I'm gonna. I don't.
I want to talk
I'm
about it.
very upset.
I'm so excited to
I'm
talk about
so
it.
upset. I'm so upset.
So upset.
I am so upset because we finally, after the fake out 2 weeks ago,
Mm,
we finally get OTEV, Mr. Italian Trash Panda himself, with the chain and the knuckleheadisms
mm.
and all of his Otevian glory. All of his Otevian glory.
I love
My
that phrase
favorite
now.
competition
Well,
by far, without a doubt. And it ended in one round
how did we get
because
here?
they could not choose a good first question. Well, it was okay. It was the probably the best question they've ever made, but that doesn't make it a good question.
So, Chris is a little fired up.
I'm so
I'm gonna
angry.
reel us back in, right?
I'm so angry.
I was with him when we watched last night. It was kind of funny. Because like I say, I spoiled the competition for me earlier. So I knew it was going to be OTEV. OTEV, if you didn't know, because apparently some people do not know that OTEV is quite literally veto spelled backwards. Just wanted to point that out to some people. And essentially, there is this figure that the house guests they ask a question, and the house guests have to get the answer. It's usually a name of a house
An
guest.
evicted house guest.
They have to bring the chip up to OTEV, and it's like kind of like musical chairs in the sense that every time there's one less stump at the top, so that someone gets eliminated. So the question is asked, and you have to go find the chip. And so playing on the veto, so we again have the people on the block, the nominees, if you will, on the blockers, and the HOH pick people to play in the comp. And so naturally it's Chelsea versus let me think, Chemo and Angela. Mackenzie was picked,
Vino was picked.
Quinn was picked,
And Rubina.
and Rubina. And that's who we have playing. And so the first question asked which evicted house guest was ineligible to play the first HOH competition.
Yes.
And so Angela won this comp. She's like, I got this. I know who wasn't able to play. And it was Mackenzie and Tucker who didn't have a group of three to play with. And Mackenzie is in the game. So obviously she's not evicted. And so they all run down and they're going to look for Tucker's name. And they're focusing on all these house guests getting this name. And everyone's going to get Tucker, so we believe. And so Angela's the first one up there. I was very happy for her because as a super fan, that's fantastic to play in OTEV. I would have honestly been really devastated
Yeah.
if she was on the sidelines for this one.
Hmm.
Same thing with Quinn.
Yeah.
Just like as super fans.
Everyone who wanted to play like super badly got to play, and that's what's nice. But let's
So
continue.
so second there is Mackenzie. And other people slowly start going up. The last two to get the name Tucker is Chemo and Chelsea. Chemo finds it first, and then Chelsea's like, sigh, and then goes up there on the side, doesn't have a stump. And then so the house guests reveal that they lift it up and they say, I brought you Tucker. I brought you Tucker. Nim, 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 nim. And then they go to Mackenzie. And she's like, I brought Cedric. And everyone's like,
Why did you do that?
boom. Why? What's going on there?
When you say something so Tucker-phobic, they give you the Cedric stare.
And thus, my favorite is the way that they edit it in the episode. Like, you're probably wondering how I got in this. Let's rewind. And they had like Mackenzie do this like
Recap of the
recap
competition.
of the comp because she points out that while she and Tucker were not able to play because they didn't have a trio, they were not technically ineligible as much as Chelsea and Cedric were because they both lost their respective
Avatars.
Ainsley competition, the no competition.
Yes.
So yeah, they were the avatars. They were wearing these silly chip costumes, and neither of them were able to play. And Mackenzie was the only one to remember this, which is not super surprising because
They faked them out. Like, yeah, they technically were all right. And yes, Mackenzie was more correct because she had the opportunity to get on the floor and look for a group.
yeah,
But that wasn't really, I mean, I guess it was the start of the competition. But have they ever done that before? Where
there were
they've
so many people ineligible.
like they've never had a competition where you can play for the first 2 seconds and you're out if you don't find people to work with. Like you're never working together
Hmm.
in a competition.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, there were like others when there were like duos for season,
Oh yeah, like
but other than
like
that,
but
they
like
weren't
the
stopping
duos
them.
were prepared. Like
Yeah.
when you think about like I don't know, like the football competition with Frankie and Zach, like that they were like a prepared duo. But like
Mhm.
not in like a weird group of three thing like that.
Yeah.
So
So
I digress.
I understand why the question may have been confusing.
Yeah.
Afterwards, when I saw it, it made sense. I heard before. Yeah.
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching, I was just as surprised as everybody else was.
Well, also, I mean, when you're seeing like, oh, it's Tucker, I'm just like, nah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also like 2 months ago. At this point, I don't remember. The funniest part of it was the fact that Chelsea didn't remember. Chelsea was
That is
there
kind of
with the
funny.
rest of them looking for Tucker, but they also did have a shot of her clearly looking at someone else's answer. So at that point, it was just like, oh, someone else had Tucker. That must be the right
Must be
answer. I have to
Tucker.
go get it, which is just so unfortunate because she was the pair. Her other half.
She had gotten a chip.
Hmm.
Like theoretically, if she got Cedric
Hmm.
and brought it up but didn't get a stump, does that
Hmm.
mean she gets to play?
I don't know. I have no idea. I wish she continued looking.
Yeah.
However, she still would have been looking for Tucker.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If she knew it was Cedric, but she was still the last person up there, I would
She
like
was
to
literally
believe.
there. Like that's what I don't understand. Like you were there.
Hmm.
It was you who was
Yeah.
affected.
No, I think she was just so blinded by other people have this
True.
answer. This must be it. If the majority rules. So I'm proud of Mackenzie
Also,
for not changing her answer.
also the fact that like they didn't really specify whether ineligible meant to do the thing or like couldn't play, period. You know what I mean? That's probably what trips people up as well.
Hmm.
Like you really the wording of the question doesn't indicate one or the other.
Hmm.
And that might have tripped people up a lot too. Like
Yeah.
obviously I wouldn't think that which is why I think that Mackenzie did get it right
Hmm.
because she took it the other way when
I mean,
everybody
she took
else
it the correct
the
way.
correct way according to Big Brother, which whatever. I'm just a little sad that OTEV was one round,
Hmm.
but it's historic, so
It is.
it
Well,
is a historic moment.
that's also what Quinn was alluding to as well. Because they're like, we're so dumb. We're all so dumb for this. Because, obviously once the answer's pointed out to them, they're like, oh, well, duh. I'm glad that Quinn had a good outlook on it too. I was just like, well, if I didn't win, at least I'm a part of history. It's like,
Yeah,
thank you for being dumb,
thank
Quinn.
you for being dumb, Quinn.
This is not the first or last time you're dumb, but I love you. But I'm glad for Mackenzie. Though she's kind of aligned with people at this moment, has kind of been on her own for the most part after Matt left and after that first week. And so I'm glad she can think for herself and stick with Cedric. But I would like to think that if she went back down and got Tucker's name, then it would just reset and it would
Oh
just
yeah, no, it
be
would have just reset.
and it would have kept going.
Yeah,
But
they've had that before.
mhm,
Like I remember
yeah.
when there was like a situation in in one of the true or false things, like everybody got it wrong and they just moved on.
Mhm.
So that would have probably
Yeah.
just happened.
But alas, we have Mackenzie too smart for OTEV.
Which, by the way, this is like your fourth competition. When I want to point that out,
Yeah.
this is like our fourth competition, and nobody said anything about it. Like
Hmm.
they're all like, "Oh yeah, Mackenzie's like a big competitive threat," but they don't actually mean it when they say that,
Yeah.
which is really weird because she literally is.
She
She's like eclipsing Tucker in the amount of competitions
yeah.
that he's won.
No, she's been doing great, but if people aren't talking about it, that's good.
No, for
Good for
real.
her. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because also like socially, I don't want to say she's doing the best, but also not
That's
the
why she's flying
worst.
under the radar because she is a non-threat
Yeah.
socially. She has like two friends,
Yeah.
and they're not even her friends.
Yeah, exactly. But thus, she wins the power of veto. They stay way too long on the thought process of that one round because that's all they had to work with. And then she, of course, talks to Chelsea, and the immediate plan is to not use the power of veto because why would she use the power of veto? And okay, guys, you watched the episode yesterday. You know that Big Brother is a big meanie, and they do something that they only started doing somewhat recently, and they left us on a cliffhanger. Will Mackenzie use the power of veto, or will she not? And she was talking to Chelsea, and she's like, I'm not going to use this on Angela. But what if we had the opportunity to get someone else out and thus I know what happened. We're gonna do a little bit of a spoiler. Do you again agree to this,
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm so for it because like it'll happen in the first 2 seconds of the next episode.
This is true. So if you're listening and you're going just by the shows and you really want to wait until tonight to find out who is on the block as they're being evicted, then you may want to go la 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 for like the next like couple of minutes and then come back. Guys, I'm getting all choked up. Wait, take over. I'm gonna cough.
Okay. So
He yawned the moment
basically, okay, so basically we are gonna be talking spoilers.
spoilers.
Spoilers, spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay. Yes, it is time. I will talk spoilers because I found out through my good reliable source Twitter,
Yay!
but through the live feeds as well, that yet again the power of veto is used. BB26 every single
Every
week.
single veto has been
Power of
used.
veto is used. At this point, it would be a bolder move to not use it this many weeks into the season. But alas, it is used. And who was taken off the block by Mackenzie? Do you have guess?
I think she went with Angela. She did go with Angela, didn't she?
Angela is off
Angela
the block
is safe.
yet again by
Oh my God.
power. So she had Tucker, she had Leah, she had Mackenzie. All of them used the power of veto on Angela. Say what you will
Say
about
what you will about
Angela.
Angela.
And I've been saying that for weeks because it keeps happening.
She's got
She
Riz.
she's got Riz, she's got a fantastic social game in like kind of not the best way either. She just kind of like creeps out. And she was talking to Chelsea about how perhaps there is an alliance outside because Quinn was hanging out with Chemo and Rabina and Leah and Tikor.
Yeah.
And was like, there may be an alliance, which is not even
There's
true.
alliance afoot.
But she was able to talk to Chelsea, who was talking to Mackenzie, and they're kind of low key aligned, but still Mackenzie's got Chelsea's back more than the opposite. And and through this, Angela just kind of creeping out to the backyard and observing things and whatnot. She ends up having the power veto used on her yet again. Good for Angela.
I think Angela is the player that Joseph wishes he was.
Yeah, he thinks that he was this mastermind. She is more of a mastermind.
He is the one who's manipulating people to take her off the block every week.
Every time.
Every single time. Like, has she ever been on the block for eviction? She's always been taken off before they've actually started voting, right?
I don't remember.
I'm like pretty sure. Because Tucker took her off. Mackenzie took her off.
I think she was on the block
took
once.
herself off. No, she didn't win a veto, did she? I have no idea. Either way, she is the player. She is the player that Joseph wishes he was, because she hasn't won anything in a minute, but she's still here, and she has won before.
This is true.
And I think she's gotten her big brother's worth, honestly. Like, if she goes home at any point before finale night, she was here for OTEV. She was HOH twice.
Yeah.
She's been saved from the veto multiple times. Yeah, she's never won a veto, but like, who cares? She still got to play in the veto competition.
But now in that and with all these vetoes used on her, that's a lot of material for a speech at the end of the game. Hey guys, maybe I didn't win everything, but I had a like great enough game that y'all saved me.
Kept me around.
I don't know if it's because someone else was a bigger threat, but that also means that I wasn't the big threat. I was doing a good job. And so she stays to the end and she points it out.
And
I
but the
feel
thing
like
is, she has like a Josh type case. She has a very, very, very strong Josh type case because he was like public enemy number one all the time, and he still won because players just respected the fact that he managed to ruffle up everyone's feathers.
Yeah.
Multiple times a week, every week, and she survived.
Yeah.
She didn't make herself that hated to the point where they just felt like they had to get her out because they just didn't like her that much. It's the same thing that happened with Josh.
Yeah.
And I think that his win was fair and square. I thought it was very
I can't disagree, but I also I love Paul.
Me too. Justice for Paul, justice free Paul twice. The second time was worse because he was beaten by Nicole Franzel, my big brother, public enemy number one, my least favorite player of all time. Yeah,
but
you know what? Whatever.
Moving on as we moving on. Show, there was a replacement nominee. Do you have any guesses?
I think it's either Quinn or Leah.
Wow.
One of the two of them.
You're not wrong. For on the block right now is Chemo and Quinn.
Okay, so we're getting another Tucker moment. Quick recap. We have like about a minute left. But the house guest is going to realize, man, wouldn't it be so dumb if we didn't just vote Quinn out right now? And then they're going to vote Quinn out right now. That's my prediction. I'm locking it in. That's what's happening tonight. We're going to see it go down. Fair chance.
Of course, as Quinn is not even on my draft, I am hoping that Quinn survives. But you know what this means we're going to get tonight?
Shout out my dogs at the crib.
We're going to get more shout out to the dogs at the crib for Cam Gets to Vote. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the last hour. This has been the Diary Room WMSC. Tonight is the live eviction episode of Big Brother. We're going to see if perchance Quinn or Chemo go home. Is tonight a secret double eviction? Question
mark.
can only hope. And all I'm going to say is December came early again because Chris may miss, for none of my picks are on the block again. So next week I remain a have, but will the have not be Chris, or will it be our version of Ainsley and Oswald? You'll just have to tune in at noon, same time next week. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for other fun WMSC shows. Peace out.